is to yell at people that they got to want to do this. You got to make this training situation so they do want to do it, so they're encouraged by it. You have to achieve basic fitness. That's very important. You have to avoid injury. That's probably the single most important thing for a distance runner, is to not get hurt and focus on the task at hand. These are the four, I call these the 5 ingredients of success. And the 5th one I might give you this afternoon when I do another session. Inherent ability is the first one. That's what you're born with, what your parents pass on to you. It's very, very easy to determine that. Let's say it could be anatomical, it could be biomechanical, physiological, it could even be psychological. What's your attitude about things? It's easiest to describe people with different anatomical design and how simple it is to show that people are not equal. If you bring in a young female gymnast who's about 4'10" and weighs about 93 pounds, and next to her you bring in a big guy who's 7 feet tall and weighs 300 pounds, he would win a shot putting contest with her because he's bigger, much bigger. I don't care if he even ever seen a shot before, he's going to beat her. And she could beat him in something that neither has ever done before. If you put them both on the back of a horse in the Derby, his horse wouldn't like that at all, not 365 pounds on its back. So it's easy to show. It's when you look the same, two people are the same height, same weight, same age, they both train the same, they both eat well, they both sleep well, and one of them beats the other one by 30 seconds in a mile run because they're not the equal. But you can't see it. It's inside. It might be a physiological or a biomechanical, or it might be it won't be an anatomical one because they're the same. But it could be a cardiovascular thing, it could be just a joint angle thing, who knows? And they're harder to measure, but they certainly do exist. Second ingredient is motivation, and it should be intrinsic. In other words, the individual involved is the one who needs to be motivated, not that person's coach, not that person's mother or father, not that person's brother or sister or boyfriend or girlfriend. Sure, it's great for those other people to be motivated for them, but the one that counts is that individual motivated, the one who's trying to do this for. If they're just doing it for somebody else, that's a different issue. If they're doing it for themselves, that's a much better situation. So if you look at those two kinds of people, or those two ingredients, ability and motivation, you have 4 kinds of people. You have people who have tremendous ability and are highly motivated. Right up there, they're the top ones. And those people are the champions. They've got great ability and highly motivated to use that ability. Then you've got others who have great ability, but they don't have the motivation, and they're coach frustrators. Because the coach sees the ability, but the person's not that keyed up about it. And you might have, you're a basketball coach, and you've got a 6-foot, 10-inch kid comes into your school, and you're thinking, boy, our team's going to really be good this year, but that kid wants to be a piano player. He doesn't want to be a basketball player. He wants to be a musician. And he's going to be good. He's going to frustrate the coach because the coach knows how good he could be if he wanted, but he doesn't want to be. And if you take these two people, you know, the coach sometimes will go to one of these and they'll say, you know, son, you could be a really great athlete if you just had some desire. I don't think he should say that. I think he should make that situation so that person would have desire. Not tell him you got to have desire. Because should they tell this one down here, you know, son, you could be a really great athlete if you just had some ability. We don't tell them that. And I don't think we should tell them that. And I don't think we should tell this one that either. Make them so they want to be motivated. Don't say you've got to be motivated. The guy's going to quit and go home. Then you got this group down here. These are kind of self-frustrators because they want to do it real bad and they don't have the ability to do it. but they're good to have on a team because they're encouraging of everybody else usually. The coach has to, with this group here, the coach's main responsibility is not let them get overtrained, because they'll do anything you say and they'll ask for more. They want to do it so badly. So you have to back off on them sometimes. You have to tell them that's enough. And then you got this fourth group, and you don't have to worry about them because they won't come out for the sport anyway. Third opportunity, our third ingredient of success is opportunity. And that can come about in different ways. It might be where you live. You know, if you have tremendous ability and a tremendous motivation to be a swimmer, but you don't have a pool or a lake or a river or something to swim in, you're not going to be a swimmer. I'm sorry. Same thing with skiing. If you live in a very warm climate that it never snows, I don't care how much ability and desire you have to be a skier, you're not going to be a skier because you don't have the opportunity to ski. So it's kind of, it varies. It might be facilities or competition as well as weather, or it might be equipment, or it might be do you have enough money to travel to compete against other people. That's an opportunity. If you live in tremendously cold weather and you're a runner, fortunately runners can run in any kind of weather. You know, some sports you got to have the situation to do it at all, like skiing. But in running, you can run in cold weather, you can run in hot weather, or you can run in whatever. But some people who live in cold weather have a better opportunity than others because they might have an indoor track. So that things like that, facilities and just travel is important. Money for travel. Direction is the fourth ingredient, and I count it as the least important. Now, at the very highest level of performance, it's very important. It might certainly be the difference between going to the Olympics or not, or being on the podium in the Olympics or not, is to having a great coach. But it's the only one of those ingredients that can be negative. Either you've got no ability or some amount of ability, no motivation or some degree of motivation, no opportunity or some amounts of opportunity. You can have no direction or some amounts of direction, or direction is worse than none. It's the only one that can be negative. So you have to be careful. Somebody came to me and said, will you please train me for the marathon? I would say, how much mileage are you running right now? And if your answer was, I'm not running, then I would say, how much running have you done in your life? I've never run. What sports have you done? I've never done any sports. You want to be a marathoner starting this week? I want you to run 150 miles a week. That's worse than no direction. Tell somebody something ridiculous. So it's the only one that can be negative, and that's direction. You have to avoid being negative. You've got to be realistic. So how do we train? The eggs against the wall theory? Take a basket full of raw eggs and throw them against a brick wall. Every once in a while, one of them doesn't break. Some coaches coach that way. Take a group of runners and just pound them and hope one of them lives through it. That's not a very good way to coach. Or what my coach did to me. That's the way I'm going to coach. I'm going to be a coach. What did my coach do to me? I'll tell you what my coach did to me. First coach I ever had. I was 23 years old before I ran because I did other sports. First coach I ever had, I had to go to the track, a cinder track, warm up, do 10 400s as hard as I could in my spikes, and go home. I did that 5 days a week for 6 weeks. 30 times I did that workout in 6 weeks. I guess that's the way to train because that's what my coach did to me. I'll do that to my runners. That's ridiculous. What do the champions do? That's another way we do. Whoa, he just broke the world record. I guess that's the way to coach. Here's a guy that I know very well. He was 17 years old when he did this week of training. Sunday, 10 miles in 65 minutes. The other 6 days of the week, he did a 4-mile morning run, and on Monday, he did a 2-mile and 9:55, 2 5:15 miles, 3 800s and 228, 6 400s, some weights, and a 4-mile run. Tuesday, 6 400s, 10 140s, 5 200s, and a few more other things I didn't have room to write down. Wednesday, 50 400s at 69 seconds each, starting one every 3 minutes. Thursday, 18 800s at 245. And why 245? That's a 5:30 mile pace. Why didn't you just go out and run 9 miles at 5:30 mile pace? Why break it into that? And then Friday, this Fart Lake session on the track, and Saturday a race. I guess that's how we should train, because that was Jim Ryan when he was 17.